Welcome to the Runna Podcast. I'm Coach Anya, an international marathon runner.
And I'm Coach Ben, and one of the co-founders of Runna.
Each week we'll be deep diving into the world of running, speaking to some inspiring individuals about their running journeys.
Runna is the #1 rated running coaching service worldwide. We help hundreds of thousands of people all over the world train for any running goal. And if you want to try out Runna for free, you can try it out using the code Runna Podcast, all one word, to get 2 weeks of free access to the Runna app.
Today on the podcast, we have the amazing Lucy Georgia, who you've probably seen all over your social media sharing her life. She's trained with us for Berlin Marathon last year and built an entire community that inspired others to get into the sport. She's gone on to complete a 70.3 half Ironman this year and is now training for New York Marathon, which we'll both be doing alongside her. Enjoy the episode. Hi, Lucy. I'm so excited to have you on. I feel like we're just going to have a catch up.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Before we start chatting a load of waffle, let's get into how you started your fitness journey and what got you into moving your body.
Of course. Okay, so I historically have never been a sporty child. Throughout all of school, throughout all of uni, I would actively avoid sports. So like team sports at school, I would say every week that I had a singing lesson, so I couldn't go and do sports. I just didn't like it, didn't get on with it, had no desire to go and play hockey, and that'd be that. And then I think throughout lockdown, like lots of people, everything was stripped away. And then I think I was like, okay, well, my mental health is suffering a little bit here. I need something that's going to make me feel good mentally and also physically. So I started doing all of those lockdown workouts that like everyone did for lockdown. And then I think off the back of that, I was then like, okay, exercise and mental health for me is pretty interlinked. It made me feel so much better when I was doing it, and also just in the days surrounding doing that workout. I was like, okay, I'm feeling like amazing after doing this. And then for about 2 years or so after that, I then was just infrequently going to the gym every now and again. And then I think I got to a point where my mental health then started to dip again a little bit. And I was like, okay, well, what made me feel good last time when I had a bit of a mental health dip? And it was exercise. But by that point, I just got really, really bored of going to the gym. I didn't really like going and lifting just like heavy circles, and then that being my exercise. And I didn't really find any other types of exercise or types of sports, I guess, that made me feel that sort of endorphin rush that I had with running. So I started running. It was the start of last year. I couldn't do a 5K at the start of last year. And I was like, okay, I'm going to set myself a challenge to try and run a 5K in however long it takes me. And then if I can do that, then we'll go from there. I'm not sort of like subscribing to becoming a runner. I'm just going to see if I can do this, and if I can actually, I don't know, say that I'm going to do something that I've said that I'm going to do. So I then started running, and then did the 5K. And then I obviously after that was like, okay, this is amazing. And now I love it. And it just, like nothing had ever before made my mental health feel so amazing. And I think that is kind of what it's always been for me, has been but every time I go on a run, my mental health benefits massively off the back of it. And it was just a way of making myself feel happy. And yeah, that's kind of how I got my body moving, I guess. I then went on to do other things after that, but as a core of how I started exercising, it was mainly just to make my mental health a bit better.
And so do you think I guess it's the endorphins of moving that you found in the gym and in those classes that you find in running as well? Is it being outside? Like, what is it you think that kind of let running be that much better for you when you found that versus those fitness classes in the gym?
I think with running, yes, it was the being outside and the endorphins, all of that. But I think more than anything, I never saw myself as a runner. And I think because I was never sporty growing up, and I never thought that I would be able to run a 5K and then run a half marathon and then run a marathon, I think running for me became such a physical representation of what I'm capable of and what I can do. And I think when you do something that you never thought that you would be able to do, you're then like, oh my God, I'm so cool, I can do this. What else can I do in other facets of my life? So I think it gave me so much confidence, more so than like going to a gym class. I knew that if I went to like, I don't know, a class at my local gym, I would do an hour of exercise, I would be able to do it, I think was my mindset going into that. But I think a lot of the time with running, there actually wasn't that self-belief there that I would be able to do it and that I would be able to actually progress onto doing a marathon, or even onto like hitting certain paces or running for certain distances. And I think showing myself that every week, and also showing up for myself every week to prove to myself that I can do things, was then, it just like, it honestly, it like changed my life in how I saw myself and how I valued myself, and also then what I strove for in other areas of my life. That sounds really, really dramatic, but it like actually
so you can
change my life.
You can do hard things.
Yeah, 100%.
You view running as a hard thing.
100%.
And then you can do other hard things as a result.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it. I think I always just thought running was for people who could get sub 20-minute 5Ks, and then I didn't think that was for someone like me. And then I obviously then through doing it.
Why do you think that you thought you weren't someone like who could do that?
On a top line level, I think that the way that lots of people now are showing that running is for everyone, and that also exercise is for everyone in general. I think when I was, say, at uni, when I was in like 2017, I don't think there was as much of a social exploration around people doing, like, you weren't seeing as many people running, and the people that you were seeing running were the people who were good at it, because
beginners didn't surface their journeys like they do now.
Exactly. I think we're seeing a huge scope of lots of different kinds of people doing lots of different kinds of things at the minute. And I think I just saw my friends who were running, who were all amazing, saw my boyfriend who was running, who was getting way faster times than I ever could. And I think I just saw the people who in my life who I saw were running were very good at running, and the people who weren't getting those specific times weren't shouting about it. They probably were still running, but they just weren't talking about it.
And I guess, like, for those who haven't stumbled across you on social media, kind of Lucy's documented her journey and inspired an enormous number of people. Is that what inspired you to share the journey, which is that like people needed to see someone like you who's at the start of their journey so they can be empowered to start like you did?
I think yes, 100%. I was stuck in a mindset of thinking that I couldn't do things. And I think that through, I guess, like starting running, changing my career, actually going after the things that I wanted, it just showed me that you kind of just need a bit of confirmation that you can do it. I am very lucky to have a very like supportive family, very supportive friend group. And I think through their support and them sort of saying like, no, like you can do the things that you want to do. If you want to go and try something, go and try it. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. And I think that for many years of my life, I potentially wasn't really listening to that. And I just didn't think that I could do things. And then I started my page basically just as a way to be like, you don't have to be absolutely incredible and absolutely amazing at the things that you're wanting to do. Giving them a try and then seeing where you end up with them will get you way further than if you don't even give yourself a chance to start something, which I think was the mindset that I was in. I was like, if you're not going to be amazing at something, why even start it? Which is like silly. That's such a stupid mindset. So I started my page because I wanted to show people that you kind of can do anything that you set your mind to. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. It's really not that deep.
That's what I kind of love about your page. And I think that's why so many people resonate with you. It's not like, I did this really amazing thing, this is how I did it. Everybody is coming along on the journey with you, and everybody's starting with you, and you are doing run clubs and taking people in their first 5K, and people can really like go on that journey with you. I think that's so amazing. And how do you feel that you've impacted that many people?
It definitely feels cool. And I also think that 19-year-old me would be quite proud of myself now for like the person that I am now. 19-year-old me probably needed her to just like, I don't know, give her a hug and be like, it's okay, like you can do these things. So the thought that my page is even that to some other people is amazing. And I think that's all that I've ever wanted to do with what I'm doing right now, because I do think that specifically girls, some of us don't have that much self-belief, and some of us don't necessarily have those people around us who are being those supportive figures in your life. And I just think giving a nudge to be like, you can do it, is everything that I've ever, I guess, wanted to do with my page. So hopefully I'm doing that.
No, absolutely. And I guess so, bring it back to the running, I guess. You started to try and complete 5K.
Yeah.
At what point did you start to believe that you could go and do a half marathon and then a marathon?
Do you know what? I think I did a 5K and then I was like, I've got a 10K in me. And then I did a 10K and I was like, I've got a half marathon in me, of course. And then I did a half marathon and then I was like, well, I'm halfway there. I might as well just do a marathon. I think it was all very small increments. Yeah. And then just being like, no, well, if I can do that, I can do that. If I can do that, I can do that. I definitely am, now I've done a marathon, I'm not thinking that I've got an 80K in me. But I think just like not immediately diving in, because the thought of going from not being able to run at all to then signing up to a marathon would have been absolutely petrifying. So I guess just proving to myself every time, doing a little bit more every time, and then at the end of that being like...
And then almost to someone listening, like, do you mean you went from 5K to a marathon in a relatively short space of time?
Yeah.
But also that doesn't mean that the person listening needs to be like, they can't run 5K now, they need to be doing a marathon in 8 months' time. It's like, no, get out the door, do you mean learn to enjoy moving your body, and do you mean see if you can get to 5K, see where things take you from there.
100%. No, I definitely am. I think I just wanted to see what I could do with it, but I also would be so happy if I came away from wanting to see if I could do that 5K with just having done that 5K, because that's still something that I said to myself, I don't think I can do that. I'm going to give it my best shot to try. And then having completed that, I would have been like, oh my God, I'm awesome. I can do anything. So yeah, you definitely do not need to be doing marathons or even half marathons, 10Ks, 5Ks, just getting outside and moving your body. For me, the mental health aspect of it works for me. Everyone is different, but it works for me.
And so how long did it take you from that first 5K towards the Berlin Marathon?
How long did it take me?
Or was it all that same year?
It was all the same year.
Incredible. Because Berlin's September.
Berlin was September. I started running when I started my social media page, I guess. So it would have been March of last year.
Wow. So you went from March to working towards your first 5K, towards September doing your first marathon.
Yes.
How hard was the training and how did Berlin go?
Do you know what? I think I was just in a phase of every run that I did was slightly longer than the last run that I did, that it was so exciting that I could even do that I think I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So I loved the training for it. I'm not saying that some of the longer runs I definitely despised, and I was hating my runner app as it was telling me to go and run a half marathon on a Friday morning. I was like, excuse me. But yeah, I think I was just in a phase of being like, oh my God, this is incredible that I could even do this. And then the marathon was like one of the best days of my life, because it was in Berlin. My boyfriend was doing it with me. He was aiming to run a much faster time than I was. So it was kind of just going to be me on my own in a foreign city running a marathon, which is something that was so new and so scary, and something that at that point I was like, I'm not even sure if I'm going to really be able to do this. My mum and sister like liaised with my boyfriend, and we were at dinner the night before the marathon, and they walked into the restaurant and they were like, surprise, we're here to watch. And there's a video of me like sobbing and like shaking, crying when I see them, because I think it just meant the world to me that this thing that I was doing felt like such a huge thing. And the fact that two of my favourite people in the world came out of their way, took annual leave to come and support me was just incredible and amazing. And then I went into the day of it with people that I loved there, watching me, supporting me, doing something incredible, then completing it, and then thinking like, oh my God, I've just done this huge, huge, huge thing. That was amazing. What am I going to go on to do next? Not even just in running, just in life. Like, I can actually do hard things. And that it was such a confirmation day for me that I can push myself and I can go so much further than I thought that I could do in running.
I guess like a testament to all the hard work you put in from March through to September.
100%.
Very long. Like that's like someone listening today achieving something by Christmas.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely threw myself into it. I did give it a lot and I trained a lot. I did all my training with Runna, which was amazing. To be fair, I do think that I actually would not have been able to do that marathon without Runna there, just because it seemed so unachievable, and having like a plan laid out in front of me of like, this is how you're going to get there. I was like, okay, I'm just going to give it all over to you and then I'll just do my runs. And
one of the bits that you did to make maybe those long runs easier would be running to go and find some snacks or some sandwiches.
Yes, I did.
Talk us through that. Where should we go to find the best sandwiches in London?
My gosh, I mean, Dusty Knuckle is still up there with one of my favourites, and that is a really far run from my house. So I was like, that's going to have to be a long run, and then at the end of that, I'll go get a sandwich. I did most of my training for that marathon on my own, just because, to be completely honest, I was a bit scared that I wouldn't be able to keep up with people or talk to people while I'm doing a long run, which I think lots of people feel that way. I think it's something that now that I am a little bit further along in my journey, I'm definitely no better at running, but I'm a lot more confident with just like, if I can't talk to someone, I can just say I'm struggling a bit. And then I can go back to talking to them afterwards if I am on a run with someone. But I think just because it was so new at the time, the thought of running with people really, really scared me. So I did do a lot of my training for that on my own. So I wanted to make it a little bit more fun by going to like, I don't know, running 2 places, running to meet friends, running to get food. And I mean, I love sandwiches. So one of the things I did was running to get sandwiches at the end of my runs. And it was great because it meant I got to explore so many different London spots for sandwiches, got to try different routes for runs, which also was great. So it didn't make it super monotonous. But yeah, I think injecting a bit of fun in your running is definitely something I would recommend if you are not comfortable to go to a run club or run with people, because there are so many ways that you can make it fun on your own.
We actually went to find a sandwich together.
Yeah, we did. And that was amazing.
But like, you were incredible. I almost would find it petrifying filming myself running. Like, that doesn't scare you. Like, you almost taking on, not just starting a running journey, you were starting your social media journey. You were, Did you feel pressure to like film yourself running, and how was sharing the ups and downs, because you were very real? And
do you know what I think, because I was talking to a girl about this yesterday actually, and she was saying, do you not find it a little bit like there's lots of pressure there if you are sharing like your exercise journey with people? And I think for me, exercise has always been a positive thing for me, and it luckily has never dipped into being like a negative coping mechanism. But I think the accountability side of it is something that I probably needed a bit of help with. So I remember when I was doing all my long runs, I would put on my Instagram story like, I'm off to do a 30k today. And then I was like, okay, well, I've said that now. And then if I then don't do that, people are going to be like, did you not just say you were going to do a 30k? Why have you only run 5? So I think the accountability side of it massively helped with my training. And yeah, I think showing the ups and the downs of it was quite comforting, because I then got loads of messages from people being like, oh my God, I thought I was alone in the fact that I actually just find running anything over 21k like really, really boring. And I was like, oh my God, me too. I cannot listen to this audiobook any longer. I'm so bored. So yeah, it was comforting in the sense that I think I found a community of people who were going through something similar to me. And then I could be like, okay, well, I'm not, even though I'm doing all my training on my own for this, I'm not on my own, because there are lots of other people who are having this respective journey in different pockets of the world. So I loved the fact that I was sharing my journey for it. And I also do have, I guess, that marathon to thank for the fact that this is now my full-time job, because I did share a lot of that, and that is where a lot of my, I guess, like audience came from. So I remember when I was doing the marathon, anytime I was feeling like, oh my God, I cannot run another step, I was like, I am literally doing my dream job right now because of this. So you actually have to be grateful right now, and you cannot be sad, because you are where you are right now in life because of this marathon, and because of sharing your journey, and because of starting your social media journey, and because of running, I guess.
Hey guys, just a little note from us. Anya and I are so excited that we managed to hit the #1 spot in the UK in the running podcast charts. So as a little bit of a thank you to all of our loyal podcast listeners, we managed to organise 15% off all of our Runner merchandise. So head to the Runner website, and if you use the code, all one word, all caps lock, MyFastSocks, you'll get 15% off any of our items on the store. So thank you for listening, and go and enjoy, go and get your hands on some Runner merchandise. So I guess over that 6-month window from run number 1 through to the Berlin Marathon, did you quit your job in that time, or was it shortly after Berlin?
I did, yes. When
'Cause I think I met you as you quit.
Yes.
So that was before Berlin, right?
I quit. When was Berlin?
September.
So I quit my job in September.
Okay, I think I met you shortly before.
So I left my full-time job early September, and then I did Berlin Marathon. I think it was the end of September 21st.
And I guess that's like almost really speaks to the scale at which you grew, which is that you showcase this journey in such an authentic way, and just, as you said, like shared, you've got a long run today, and then made a video on how it went. Yeah. I think that was so real that people resonated with it.
Yeah, it was definitely the journey from doing a job that was so completely different to being self-employed and making videos for a living, that kind of in the same way of going from running a 5K to running a marathon, it kind of felt like that, in the sense of it was such a huge leap for me in such a short amount of time, that it was amazing and it was very exciting. But yeah, it did take me a bit of time to get my head around the fact that, okay, my job now is, I guess, filming myself going for runs, something that was once my hobby and something that I never thought I would be able to make money on, I guess. I was then just so beyond grateful for the fact that I was waking up every day doing something that I loved, and also hopefully doing something positive for other people as well was always a big part of it for me. So yeah, I mean, it was quick but cool.
So I guess you completed Berlin.
Yes.
And then you didn't kind of rest on your laurels. You then picked a new challenge.
Yeah.
And a very similar time, you did a similar first one of these. What did you go on to push yourself towards?
So I'm just going to set... You don't always need to be doing challenges, can I just say? I am someone who, I think when I left my full-time job, I missed the structure of being in a full-time job. And I am someone who, I'm pretty disorganized. I'm sort of like, can sometimes be a bit lazy, maybe. So I think the structure of doing that marathon kind of replaced the structure of a full-time job, and I love doing it. So I was like, okay, well, I want to go on to do another challenge, and I also want to get into swimming and cycling. Why don't I just sign up to an Ironman 70.3, and then I'll have an intro into swimming, an intro into cycling, and also a bit of structure that I don't necessarily have in my job right now. So I signed up to do an Ironman 70.3, which, looking back, was so bold, considering I couldn't swim or I couldn't cycle. But also it was it was like another thing of being like, okay, this is something that I don't think that I can do. Let's see if I can do it. And I could do it.
And I guess, obviously you shared with running that it was great for your happiness. Mm-hmm. Have you found cycling and swimming affect your happiness in the same way or in a different way?
I think swimming sometimes made me a bit sad, to be completely honest.
Same. Me too. I'm a triathlete who hates swimming.
Yeah, do you know what? It was definitely very meditative. And I think maybe that's the problem with me, that I found it maybe a little bit boring, that I should probably just be happy being alone in my head. But I think because I'm quite slow at swimming, my swims were sort of taking hours, and then just staring at the pool tiles for hours at the end of it, I was like, oh my God, get me out of this pool. Cycling I loved. I think in a similar way to running, it was outside and it was a way to like see new places. And also with running, it was also a mode of transport. So I could cycle to like go and see my friends. I could cycle to go and get a snack, in the way that swimming, you're just sort of going up and down. So yeah, I absolutely loved cycling. Swimming, I did learn to love it. It's definitely my least favorite of the three. But I think similarly with running, I definitely went from, I couldn't even swim one length when I started swimming. And then I went on to do a sea swim in Mallorca, and I completed it in like my fastest time ever. And I remember I got out of the sea and there's a video of me being like, oh my God, I couldn't even swim 3 months ago. Like, that's crazy. So I think in the same way that every time I went on a run in that first block of marathon training, I was like, this is amazing. This is so exciting. I kind of had that same thing with swimming, in the sense of being like, okay, I can swim 200 meters further than I could swim last time. And that's pretty cool. But yeah, definitely not a big swimmer.
And how hard was the half Ironman in Mallorca?
It was quite hard, to be honest. It was amazing.
Harder than Berlin?
Yeah, I would say so. Just because I think I mean, I know you did a really, really hilly one when you did.
This was hilly.
Yeah, super hilly.
They're very similar races. So for context, you did Mallorca and you did Nice, and they both have a very hilly bike.
Yes, I think that.
I've also done Mallorca.
Have you? How did you find it?
Very hilly. Yeah. I'm a heavy man, so I like flat.
Okay. So I mean the swim, weirdly my favourite part of the half Ironman, because I think that was actually something that I was like, I hadn't done any open water swimming before doing that, and my first time open water swimming was literally the day before, and I was like, I actually don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. And then I finished that and I was like, oh my god, cool, I can do that. Went onto the bike, which I was feeling pretty confident in, and then I just got hit by this like massive hill, and then my period started halfway through the bike course, which was like, it really threw me off. And then I think just after that, my head was just then in a bit of like okay, that bike was a lot harder than I thought it would be. My period has started midway through this race, which is like so stressful. I don't have anything on me. And then I went into the run and it was like 30 degrees and my legs were knackered. And I was like, okay, this is actually really, really hard. But I do think that I have never been someone who's put too much constraint on myself in terms of expectations from a race. The fact that I'm even doing these things in the first place is enough for me to be so proud of myself at the end of it. And I think the fact that I went into that half Ironman with that mindset of thinking, so long as I finish this, that's all I care about. I took the run pretty steady, and I think during the bike at the end of it, I was like, this is going to be the worst 2 hours of my life, this run and this half Ironman. And then halfway through the run, I was like, do you know what? I'm actually having a really nice time. I'm on a run in Mallorca right now. My mum is there supporting me. Like, this is incredible. And I've done I've done a swim and a cycle, which I only started this year. And I think I was just running and I was like, this kind of feels like my victory lap at the end of doing something massive. And I think I finished it in like 6 hours 59, which is a pretty long time for a half Ironman, but I could not have been prouder of myself the moment that I crossed that line, and not a single ounce of me was like, damn, I should have done that faster. I was like, God, I've just done a bloody half Ironman and that's so cool. So yeah, but the run was hot and the marshals were pouring water on me at every 2.5k.
And to think that was also only just over a year after training for your first 5k.
I know. It
really is quite surreal, almost pausing for a minute and thinking back to how much you've achieved in such a short amount of time.
Definitely. I think also just with the context of me as a person, like, I was never the sporty one. And I think the fact that I have done these two incredible, amazing things within a short space of time is also just like, to anyone else, it's sort of like, okay, cool, she did these.
Does your mum and your boyfriend, who obviously know you very well, almost be like, oh my gosh, like, to them they must be even more like blown away and proud?
I think every time I passed my mum on the marathon, every time I passed my mum on the half Ironman, she was sobbing at both times, because she was like, you are just like amazing. And I think seeing that, I was then like, I'm amazing. My boyfriend did do the half Ironman with me as well, so I think, I'm sure he would have been sobbing on the sidelines, but he was a bit too busy sort of dying on the...
So there were no sections where you went past each other and got a little high five?
No, he sort of was a lot faster than me, so... But...
Well, was he back on the course cheering?
Yeah, he was. I was like, God, I've taken a bit longer than you have. But no, I think even he is... I think for him, it's just the sense that he's seen me in a period of life where I didn't have much self-belief in myself. I was working a job that I didn't really like. I didn't think that I could even do a 5k, to now working a job that I love, done a half Ironman, done a marathon. And I think he's just really proud of the person I've become.
I love your energy so much. With your job, with everything you've achieved, I also think it's amazing that you can look back retrospectively and really appreciate what you've done. Mm-hmm. Are you living your dream?
Am I living my dream? Do you know what? I think there's a lot that I want to do with my page and my online presence, I guess, and then even further beyond that, there's a lot that I want to do in my life. I think I'm living my dream in the sense that I feel like I'm just at the start of my journey, and it feels like the future feels really, really exciting to me. And also, like, I'm absolutely, as much as I hate to admit that I'm an influencer, that makes me feel sick to my stomach, but this is always something that I've always wanted to do. I've loved making videos. I've loved taking videos of things. I've loved the creative side of it. I did a brand deal the other day, and they asked me for videos from 3 years ago, and they were like, okay, well, if you don't have videos from 3 years ago, we understand that you weren't doing this job at that time, so no worries if you don't have them, but just let us know. And I was sort of looking through my camera roll, and from 3 years ago, before that and after that, I had filmed and edited videos in the same way that I'm doing now, and just never posted them because I was far too embarrassed. And as much as I hate to admit, because I am still a little bit embarrassed by this job, it is something that I've always wanted to do. It's so fun to be able to film my hobbies and then make videos about them and then inspire other people to get outside and moving. I feel really proud of the fact that I've made that into a career, and I've started a career that I really, really love after many years of working in jobs that I don't really, really love. So yeah, I would say I'm living my dream. Yeah, I love it.
I guess the piece is that you finished the half Ironman,
Yes.
and you said that you like the structure of training for the half Ironman. You like the structure of training for Berlin. Are you training for anything else?
I am. I'm currently training for New York Marathon with Runna.
We're doing it too. We'll be there. How are you finding that? Like, how does it feel to train for a second marathon?
I'm loving it. I think that the first marathon was amazing because, as I said, every single run was a PB. I'm obviously now going into this training block knowing that even if I walk it, I will be able to finish this marathon. But I think going into it with the knowledge of like, I can do this, and that sort of reaffirming within myself has been way more, it's been a little bit more comforting going into my runs. Even sort of like I did a 17k the other day, which is the longest I've run since the half Ironman. And I remember the first time round when I was training for a marathon and I ran a 17k, I was like, that is so long. And I think just the mindset of thinking like, okay, I've done that before, I can do that again, that's fine. So yeah, I think I'm a little bit more confident in myself and in my abilities this time around. And I'm also making it a lot more fun this time around. I'm going to run clubs, running with people. I'm just sort of trying to be a little bit more confident in the fact that I can run. I can run with people, and run clubs are fun. Running with people is fun. Running by myself is fun. I can run and go do things by myself. So I'm just taking it a little bit less seriously this time around, I think. And New York is going to be an incredible, incredible experience. And I love the city. I'm so excited to do the marathon. Whatever time I come out with, I will be so excited. I'm also really excited to go with you guys. I think that'll be a really fun thing to do. So yeah, I'm excited and I'm loving training for it so far. It's going well.
Wow. What an amazing journey. No, it's super exciting, and we can't wait to see how you get on. We're going to segue over to Steph, who's going to give us our coaching tip of the week.
My top tip today is on running trainers. Choosing a pair of shoes can feel like an absolute minefield. There are so many different options on the market with so many different brands, and what works for your friend might not work for you. I'd recommend heading to your local running store, getting some recommendations, finding out whether you need a neutral or more supportive shoe, and trying them on the treadmill. This will help secure the perfect fit for you.
Thank you for that, Steph. We are now going to jump into our dilemma discussion of the week. A runner has asked, I want to do a triathlon, but where do I start? Which I think is very topical for this conversation.
Yeah, great question. And I guess we can all share our opinions, given that we all have our own kind of triathlon journeys. I think, like, first of all, like, running can be quite like, we all love our running because it's great for our mental health. But at the same time, if you go get a running injury, you then can't run. And if that's like the thing making you happy, that's really problematic. And I think to some extent, having your mental happiness and your health and your fitness coming in from 3 sports, that is a really great, almost diverse perspective on things. Anyway, so I think like that's a really good motivating reason of to why we should. And I think at the end of the day, with anything, you need to enjoy it if you want to persevere with that. So I think at the end of the day, if you love running and you hate cycling and you hate swimming, you probably don't need to become a triathlete. But I think if you enjoy cycling, just commute around London or whatever it's going to be, then maybe you might enjoy pushing yourself with something else. And almost to the same perspective, if you enjoy Zumba, do your Zumba, do your perspective on health that makes you happy. But yeah, I guess like with that in mind, just get out on the bike, gradually build yourself up. Like if you can cycle to the shops, try and cycle to and from the shops and whatever it's going to be. And before you know it, you're able to cycle 20 kilometers, which is the distance you need to do a sprint distance triathlon. You don't need to go in with the half Ironman if you don't want to. My triathlon journey 10 years ago was I did a sprint distance triathlon and then didn't do a triathlon for 4 or 5 years and then did a full Ironman. So I did a similar journey of going from 0 to 100. But yeah, I mean, doing 20 kilometers on the bike's not that daunting. Hopefully we can work up to 5k, and Runna's got the Couch 5k plan sorted if you can't run your 5k. And then the swim as well, the sprint distance triathlon, 750 meters. So it's not hours like we described, it's 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, which is hopefully not too daunting to give it a go. And I think if you enjoy that, then you can think about doing another one or building up to the bigger distances. Would you guys add any extra comments on how to do your first triathlon?
I would say, specifically with cycling, I found it quite daunting to get into it because I found it to be quite a male-dominated sport, and I definitely didn't really know where to start. I didn't really know where to get into. So I would say I'm saying this if you're a gal, find female cycling groups if you're a little bit nervous about it. And also, I do think that specifically in London at the minute, there are so many cycling groups that are for so many different abilities, and even just chatting to people there about, I don't know, how to repair a puncture or like what to do if, I don't know, see, I don't even know anything to do with the bike. But I do think chatting to people who are interested in cycling is a really easy way to get a lot more confident with the specifics and the technicalities around the bike, which I think I found a really daunting thing. And yeah, I guess with swimming, you've kind of, for me, I had just had to get past that point where it was awful, and then suddenly it wasn't so awful. So I think if you're starting your swimming journey and you're thinking, why do I feel like I'm drowning every stroke? It will get better, I promise you, because it got better for me. And I'm maybe one of the worst swimmers in that triathlon, and I still managed to do it. So it will get better. As Ben said, you kind of just need to, bit by bit, just build it up, and then you will get there. But yeah, I mean, I loved it. I think if you like running and you like doing marathons or even, I don't know, 5k park runs, I found doing a triathlon really fun because the diversity between the different sports, I found it really interesting, and it kept me engaged with it. So I would say it's a fun thing to do, but also it is a lot. So do it if you want to.
I would just say practically a few tips. No, but I went in with quite a training mindset because I almost knew I could do it, but it was just like, how? So I spoke to a few people and they were like, break up your training with the ratio of how long each discipline takes you in the race. So you're going to spend most of the time on the bike. So I spent a lot of time training on the bike, kind of less on the swim, and I already knew I could run. I had one more thing I was going to say. Like I can stop it there. What was I going to say? Oh, okay, I've got it. Hello, sorry. And then also how to break up the intensity of the sport. If you're already like following a running plan, you know only a small proportion of it is like speed work. And basically you build fitness by being in the right heart rate zones. So, and your body actually isn't clever enough to know whether it's like through running or whether it's through the bike or swimming. So most of your training should be like easy zone 2, zone 1 heart rates, and then whether you're pushing hard intervals on the bike or pushing hard intervals on the run, you're going to get those same fitness benefits basically.
Yeah, so to kind of treat your swimming and your bike training in a similar way to that maybe that you do understand running if you're coming at it from a experienced running perspective.
Exactly.
I wish I'd have known that before doing my triathlon.
Well, Lucy, we're going to take you on for some sillier questions now.
Okay.
So I laughed when I first saw this first one, so I think you might have prepared this, Anya.
Yeah.
Would you rather
Okay.
get an Ironman tattoo on your face
Yes.
or do a full Ironman every year for the rest of your life?
Do you know what? Concealer exists. I think I'd be getting a face tattoo. I don't think I can be doing an Ironman every year.
Was there a part of you that thought you've done a half Ironman one day, a full Ironman, or you rest your feet up after?
I would love to do a full Ironman, but I think I need to get a little bit more. A few more years under my belt before I do that, because I think I don't want to throw myself in and then hate it. It needs to be something that I enjoy. I will not be getting a tattoo after it though, on my face or on my calf. So
What about on your ankle?
I mean, they do look cool, but I just think for me,
Dug a hole here. I won't be getting one on my calf. They don't look cool at all.
but on the ankle, oh my God, it would look gorgeous.
I'll come and check in once you've done that in a few years' time. What are you, Anya? Ironman every year for the rest of your life, or an Ironman tattoo on your face?
I don't want a tattoo on my face. I'd do an Ironman every year. But I hope I get a tattoo not on my face, and I hope I do an Ironman soon. And probably will love it and end up doing them more than once.
Well, it's an easy choice for me. I do an Ironman every year and I don't have a tattoo on my face. Right, number 2.
Okay.
This is more odd, so we can laugh at Anya for her choice in this or that.
Okay.
Would you rather sweat maple syrup
Yes.
or wee strawberry jam?
Oh, sweat.
How did you think this up?
I think sweat maple syrup because that sounds a bit painful. the strawberry jam of it all.
This is surely such an obvious question because maple syrup on your face, bit of energy gel, whereas like weeing a semi-solid material.
That's such a gross way to...
But then I guess, imagine if you'd be so sticky. But then, yeah.
Also, I'm always sweaty.
Yeah, not
you
outside of running.
You only have to wee like 2 to 10 times a day.
Do you know what? Wee strawberry jam, I take it back.
So it would be more practical.
Can you imagine sort of like...
Rolling in bed, like, oh.
I know. Or just like being in a social, like being in a job.
You know when you've got like a sweaty hand, you shake someone's hand, and then you've got maple syrup's the stickiest thing around.
It's not the weirdest question.
No, actually, you're right. I thought it was obviously maple syrup.
No, I'll be moving forwards with strawberry jam at this time.
It had to be quite liquefied, strawberry
you-
jam. But yeah, strawberry jam.
I love strawberry jam as well. But it would then put you off strawberry jam because you're not going to then want to eat piss on toast, are you? So therefore strawberry jam's out. Imagine one of your favourite sandwich places you go to run and find has strawberry jam, and now you can't eat that sandwich.
That said, to be fair, I'm not really eating jam sandwiches.
But also, you're not going to be able to enjoy pancakes with maple syrup because then it'd be sweaty pancakes.
I think you're losing in both.
Okay, so I think group decision, strawberry jam.
Yeah.
Right, let's hope the next one's slightly less strange. Would you rather have an unlimited gift card to enter any race in the entire world
Okay.
or unlimited gift card for sandwiches at every sandwich shop in the world? A sandwich black card or a race, an Ironman, marathon, anything black card?
Due to sort of my love of sandwiches, it would have to be a sandwich black card.
Also, you need to eat every day, but you only need to race once or twice a year. So from like a commercial...
Oh, so would I need to have a sandwich every single day?
No, but you have the black card.
Oh, I get...
Do you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, 100%.
if you had a black card for marathons, you're probably not going to do 365.
No,
But you could probably get a lot more value out of your sandwich card.
sandwich card for sure. 100%. You'll sort of be...
Well, I think I'd do races because
Races are expensive.
Ironman and things are so expensive.
But if you're getting a dusty knuckle sourdough every day, that's...
That's also expensive. Yeah, it's close.
Well, you probably need to do the maths because it's like £10 a day. Let's say 300 days of sandwiches, £3,000. An Ironman's like £600. And then marathons about £50 to £100. Half marathons here or there. You could probably get £3,000 worth of races out if you were Anya. But I think commercially it's probably either or. So it's basically, do you prefer sandwiches or do you prefer races?
Sandwiches. and that's why you're a very good runner. And
I think there's another practical reason, which is that I would have to pick races because if I had unlimited food, I would then get very bad at races.
Yes, but I would be very happy with all my unlimited.
But also, like, it's good for us to do a race and push yourself to do a race. Whereas, like, you're basically, it's kind of, where do you want the barrier to entry? I want low barrier to entry on the hard thing, which is races, and I want a really high barrier to entry on buying sandwiches. Because if I have unlimited access to sandwiches and really low races, my, like, fitness trajectory might go the wrong way.
100%. I think I sort of wouldn't be too fast about my fitness trajectory.
Right. Well, that was an easy decision as well.
Okay, we're now going to go into our most embarrassing running stories, and this one was sent in from one of our runners. During a training run, I was doing 4 loops, ending each at my house, where I'd hydrate, refuel, and take a toilet break. On loop 2, I took my dog and unfortunately had a runner's tummy moment, so had to go for a wild poop. It went all over my bare legs and trainers.
I thought you were going to say it went all over the dog.
That's where I was thinking that was going. I was like,
For the rest of the loop, my dog wouldn't stop licking my legs.
oh God.
The next house loop included a swift clean-up, much to my husband's amusement.
That's horrible, but also fair enough.
It's really horrible.
I'm kind of like slightly concerned about the runner, because if they've got 4 opportunities for toilet trick,
Yeah, that's actually
how many like, when they do their loops, and next time they need to halve their loop to have maybe the same run with 8 trips home. But like, comes a point where, like, you kind of, maybe they need to change the diet or something.
dogs are so horrible with things like that.
I thought the story was going to be they squatted down and pooped on their dog.
At least they didn't do that.
Yeah. Wow. Liz, do you have any really embarrassing running stories you want to share with us?
Do you know what? I actually do have a really embarrassing running story that I actually don't think
Oh my God, I'm excited.
How exciting.
It was during Berlin Marathon. I think, so I got to the last 5K of the race and I sort of really needed a wee. But I was like, I know if I stop now, my legs won't be working again after stopping. So I was like, I'm just gonna have to power on. So I was like, yeah, I can just hold it in. And then as I was crossing the line, completely wet myself as I was crossing the line of the first marathon that I've ever done. And there was a guy next to me who was like, oh my God, I followed you on. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, ah. And then
As in he started speaking.
He started speaking to me.
Fangirling you, and then noticed you're pissing yourself.
Completely just wet myself. And he was like, well done on the marathon, and then walked off. And I was like, okay, well, that's actually not going to take away from the fact that I've just done a marathon, but that also is so embarrassing. So embarrassing.
Also to think that you were like nervous to like start because it was embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I finished it in full.
Met a fan while you pissed yourself.
Yes. Very good, yes. So that was no good, but ultimately,
That's brilliant.
oh well, I did a marathon and I pissed myself.
I remember weighing myself in Valencia Marathon, and well, I actually watched the person in front of me wee, and they just completely let it go. And I was like, that's quite a lot, but like, good on her. So then I kind of rewarded myself every few kilometres with letting a little bit of wee out.
Do you know what? And when we went for that run together, you told me that story, and that was the first thing that went through my head. I was like, Anya is like the best marathon runner that I know, and she has pissed herself during a marathon, so it's fine.
But the thing was, I was wearing cow print shorts, and so it was fine. But I just remember being like, at least it's not like a cow pat. It doesn't look like a cow pat on my cow print shorts. It's just, but I was petrified I'd leave like a stain on my white cow print shorts. But
Well, for those people wanting to get into triathlon, you're much more socially acceptable to piss yourself in a triathlon than runners. But I mean, clearly it's quite acceptable as runners anyway.
Yes, I had lots of people before doing the triathlon tell me, like, it will be a miracle if you walk away from this without shitting yourself. I was like, ugh. That was horrible. Luckily I didn't, but I actually did see a fair few people who did. And I feel like in that situation, you're like, fair. That's fair enough.
I don't think I've ever done a full Ironman without doing a number 2, but I went to the toilet on all, no, as in I took my tri-suit down on all of the occasions. I didn't necessarily do it in a portaloo, but I never shat myself. But I don't know if you guys had this, but you know when you put like a wetsuit on, I immediately need a pee.
Oh, 100%.
I've been in the queue to start a triathlon,
And it's wet on the floor.
and I've had to wee myself in my wetsuit. It's like something about wearing a wetsuit; it just makes you go.
You're about to jump in the waters.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I've also had it in the finishing leg of I think my first Ironman, and I was bursting for a wee, and I was really excited about the time I was doing. So I did not want to slow down. But the course was like out and back. And there was a few people, it kind of, when an Ironman happens in a town, everyone in the town's kind of doing the Ironman. So there was a bunch of people that I kind of recognised from my hotel and from breakfast, just like other Brits at this hotel doing the Ironman. And I'm running probably like towards the finish at like 40k of the marathon, seeing someone from my hotel go the other way. I'm peeing, and like you can visibly see like the orange stream coming out of my trousers because it's quite a thin material. And he literally waves at me, and then he looks down and he goes, "Fair play," as I went the other way to the finish line. And then as soon as you finished, it was a really hot day in Norway where I did my first one. There was someone with a hose to like cool your face down and like give you a bit of an air mist of, and I borrowed the hose and cleaned myself up.
Well, guys, that makes me feel a lot better that my embarrassing story is a communal experience.
Yeah. Well, everyone's unsubscribed from the Runna Podcast now. But there we are. No, we're not there. We are. We've got our final favourite question.
Oh my gosh.
So don't unsubscribe yet. You are on the start line of New York Marathon.
Yes.
You're naked.
Okay.
And you can have 3 things with you.
Okay.
What are they?
Ooh. This is going to be awful. My phone. To document it. A clothes sort of out of the question.
No, but like you can have 1 item of clothing or 2. You've only got 2 items left.
Okay, I would go for a unitard.
They're learning.
1 item. Maybe some shoes. Actually, no. I would leave my phone and I would go shoes, socks, unitard.
I feel like we're converging on the right answer because
What is the right answer?
I think
that is 2 in a row of shoes, socks, and 1 all-in-one outfit.
Yeah.
So that could be the right answer.
Okay.
Although Anya and I are sockless.
Oh, really? I think I wouldn't be able to do that, unfortunately. But my first thought, as soon as that came through my head, was phone, mini microphone, snack. And then I thought, no, I should probably be wearing some clothes.
I feel like you might need a different
So-
social media platform to upload those types of...
No, 100%. If you want to subscribe to my OnlyFans. I'm joking.
Well, there we are. I think before this deteriorates any further, we should say goodbye.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Also, a genuinely huge thank you for being such a huge part in my journey in running and also just in my life. Because I do, as I mentioned, I do think that marathon had a huge part in where I am today. And I wouldn't have been able to do that marathon without Runna and your support. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for supporting us and thanks for helping share Runna's journey, and we can inspire more people to get moving and follow in the same trajectory.
Good luck.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Runna. If you want to train for any running goal, please download the app and don't forget you can use the code Runna Podcast for a 2-week free trial.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, share, follow, do all of that nonsense, and we'll be back here next week. And if you want to be featured, send us your embarrassing running story. Either send us a voice note on Instagram or send us an email to podcast@runner.com so that we can have a good laugh at your expense in Runner HQ and share it on one of the next episodes.